Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and anyone in between, welcome to Tea with Tofco. I'm your host, Tofco, and today we're talking about the sequels. And it's a touchy subject. It divides a fandom. So before we get into it and I introduce our guests, I just want to say that this has been a blast to make, and I really want to carry on making these. But I can only do that if it gets the support, so please make sure to leave a like. Anyway, back to the show. So, our first guest is my fellow European Star Wars streamer, all the way from the Netherlands. It's Darth Revan.
I thank you for having me, Tofco. My opinion on the sequels is that they aren't the best that has come out of Disney canon so far.
And that's an interesting opinion. So, next, we have a great YouTuber that I just met a couple of months ago. Give it up for Paul's Parlor.
Hi, everybody. I am the Paul Newmo of Paul's Parlor, and I love Star Wars The Force Awakens, but The Last Jedi needs an extended edition or a remake. Please, Disney, please, smarten up.
Well, that was some strong opinions there. So let's get into our final guest. This is my rival. It's the OG member of my channel. It's the Chosen One.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. Thank you, Tofco, for having me. I would say I don't really have a set opinion on the sequels. I think Disney definitely put a whole lot of money into it, and it looks really nice, but I don't think they put the right time into making the right plot and storyline for a Star Wars viewer. Yeah.
Okay, so there's a lot of Disney, I wouldn't say hate, Disney opinions going around. And firstly, we're going to talk about where it all began. When Lucasfilm was bought out by Disney. I don't know if any of you remember that, but if anyone does anyone have any opinions on that?
I'll go first, Tofco. When I was a young Star Wars fan back on the mainland of Ontario, I was actually almost ready to ditch Star Wars because, the Clone Wars had just gotten canceled. No new live-action films were being made. I had literally just given away my Star Wars card collection. I literally just bought a new Star Wars card collection. And then when I saw that Disney was buying Star Wars, I was kind of like, no, I do not want to see the title Disney Star Wars before every Star Wars film now. And then I was like, what are you doing with Rebels? Even though now I love Rebels, except for one episode that needs to be deleted. And then when The Force Awakens came out and I saw it, I was like, yay! I didn't care that it was similar to Episode 4. It was like, yay.
Okay, we will move on to The Force Awakens after. Again, I didn't even know they did Star Wars cards. That's crazy. Does anyone else have any opinions on that?
I would say, so Disney bought Lucasfilm for $4 billion back in 2012, and it was like, we didn't really know what was to be expected, and it was like they didn't start movie production because they hadn't owned it until 2012. So it took a few years was it 3 years? I forget now, when The Force Awakens was released, but there was quite a time where Star Wars kind of died. There was nothing going on. And then Disney did kind of resurrect Star Wars. They brought back Star Wars with The Force Awakens, which launched games like Battlefront 2, inspiration for people, and a lot of people came back to Star Wars, so yeah.
So, Revan, do you have any opinions on this?
Well, yeah, actually, I do. The fun thing about this entire Disney debacle and whatnot is that they bought it indeed in 2012. Mostly, George Lucas sold it because he just didn't make enough money off it. That was the first thing, and the Star Wars name, the brand, wasn't going anywhere. So only Clone Wars was still up, and some games in between, but nothing new. No movies, no other TV shows, no nothing, and that really killed it for me.
I mean, George Lucas now is very rich, so he solved that problem. And there's Star Wars content.
Can I add something, Tofco?
Yeah, sure, please.
Revan is one of those, he just told me, that doesn't like anything. He likes to have Episode 6 be the final ending for Star Wars, just like the Scoundrel's Cantina. And I kind of agree with that. I kind of don't. just to let you all know out there, Star Wars fans, everything after Episode 6 in Legends is very complicated, and it kind of goes against everything Luke did in order to take down the Empire. It is true. We did not need the return of the Sith, that's for sure.
Okay, some more shade and interesting opinions getting thrown in there. So I think I'm gathering that there was a lot of uncertainty with this deal. And then Disney came up with The Force Awakens, which people seem to really enjoy, and it was just a start back into Star Wars. And I want to start on this movie. First, I just want to ask, did anyone go see it in cinema?
No.
I saw it in the cinema.
Revan?
I saw it in the cinemas and also the premiere.
Oh, you went to the premiere. Wow.
Ooh, a true gamer.
Okay, so
We don't do a lot of theater here, so I usually don't see my movies until they come out on DVD.
fair enough. So let's start with Revan then, who obviously went to the premiere. What were your feelings after the movie had finished? Your initial feelings?
I was hyped. I thought this was the greatest thing ever. Star Wars was back. It was the first ever Star Wars movie I saw in cinemas. And my entire world just became a whole lot brighter and better. And also the thing was, I didn't care about the story. I just loved that it was back. But then later, when I rewatched it and saw other YouTubers talk about it, I understood that it isn't the greatest movie that's out there from Star Wars.
Does anyone have anything to add to that?
The only thing I didn't like about The Force Awakens is that once it came out and once it was like established, during the time of Rogue One's development, we were getting a lot of like deleted scenes and like extra story content that happened in and around The Force Awakens, and it made me just really wonder, why the heck do we not have an extended edition? Like, I feel like there's so much missing from the story now that we have Rey Forces of Destiny, Rey's Adventures in Star Wars Battlefront 2. We have the Battle of Jakku, for crying out loud. The Mandalorian might even reference something. I just don't know. There's so much there. There's even Kylo's backstory. There's Luke before The Force Awakens. There's just so much that they could handle in extended editions, and those deleted scenes are good.
Yeah, okay, I agree with that. Chosen, and your thoughts when you went into and watched The Force Awakens?
I would say, like, it wasn't... I would agree with Revan. Like, when I went in and watched it, it was not me really contradicting the movie, but really enjoying it, because we'd been stuck with only 6 movies, which is a lot, but Star Wars was, and has always been, my favorite series. So, like, at first, I was just really, really happy that it was there, and then I kind of started to think of, like, they could have done the plot a little better. Like, yeah, that's how I feel.
Anything to add to that? What Chosen just said?
Yeah, Tofco, I'm kind of on both sides of the spectrum. I'm on Revan's side and Chosen's side. For being on Chosen's side, I didn't really care that The Force Awakens has a very similar plot to A New Hope. I found the plot more original, and I loved most of the characters. There wasn't really any complaints. It's just that once the extra content came out, I really wanted like a newer extended edition or something.
Okay, just to recap on all that for our viewers, Revan seemed to really enjoy it when walking in, as did Chosen, and as did Paul. It was the beginning of Star Wars. I felt this when I went in, because I never got to watch any of the other movies in cinema, so it was just amazing to go. It felt so Star Warsy. And then Revan and Chosen seemed to change their views a bit after, while Paul seems to just want more on the extended edition. My own opinions were it was a decent movie, a bit of a rehash of The New Hope, but the only scene that really got me was Han Solo's death, which is what we're going to talk about next. So who has anything on that?
Yes, Han Solo dying was a hard thing to watch, but if you did the research on Harrison Ford's career, you kind of know that he wanted that all along. I actually don't have a problem with that death. I love how Han's arc has ended. I have more to say on what happens in The Last Jedi, but yeah, I love Han's full story in the new canon. It's very good.
Okay, cool. Anyone else?
Oh yeah, I'll go. Well, what I thought about Han's death wasn't really that special for me, but what was very special for me was that he was kind of being shown off as this father figure to Rey, and that was something that I truly didn't get because Rey didn't know Han Solo. In just 2 hours, they met, and when he died, she cared a lot for some reason, even though they only met like a few hours ago. So that was.
Hey, Tofco, can I add to that?
Oh yeah, sure, please go ahead.
One of the biggest problems, Star Wars people, that I had with Rey's conspiracies was the whole who is she, who her parents are, and I was never a Rey Solo person. I was never a Rey Kenobi person. I've always been a Rey Skywalker kind of person, and the fact that the next movie is literally called The Rise of Skywalker is just too big of a hint. Come on, people.
Okay. I think that these theories from different channels, they kept Star Wars alive. This is why Star Wars is so much, because people like Star Wars Theory or someone else, I don't know, all these channels, this is like what makes Star Wars Star Wars, and what makes the fandom so amazing to see. Chosen, do you have any special moments from The Force Awakens?
Yeah, just like you, I'd never been in a theater watching Star Wars. They were all released before I was born. So, I mean, definitely going to see that was quite an experience. I was very excited to go see it. You know, I can remember doing that. It's definitely been one of my favorite moments is going to be able to see those movies. So, yeah, I definitely have had special moments from those.
Okay, that is good to know. So we are going to move on, and next we're going to talk about perhaps the most controversial installment. And no matter what Episode 9 does, Episode 8 is going down in history for being either so bad or really good. It really depends on who you ask. So I'm just going to share my experience with you. I went with my cousin, and he'd never seen a Star Wars movie. He didn't like Star Wars. And so it was just, so when I went, we came out of that cinema thinking this was the best movie ever made. We were so hyped because he'd never seen Star Wars, and I just loved it. I thought it was so Star Warsy. It brought out like my best moments of Star Wars, and my best, yeah, that's all I'm gonna say on that.
Okay, are you ready for a doozy, Tofco?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, Star Wars fans. I was actually one of the, if you keep in touch with my channel, one of my songs is Mickey Mouse Killed Star Wars. That was my opinion of The Last Jedi before I saw it, because I was on the hype train just buying the bait. But then when I saw it myself, I was the type to just say, it's a good movie, but it needs a remake. Because there's just so much that I had to basically say, okay, let's arm my Death Star and my Star Killer base and just nuke this thing, because I hated that Leia doesn't die. I hated that Rose doesn't die. I hated that Finn and Rose thought it was a good idea to park on a beach that was definitely meant for a resort and not for a spaceship. I hated that Canto Bight had no aliens from the previous film. I hated that DJ sounded like the Grinch. I hated that Phasma's backstory wasn't explored at all. I hated that Kylo was kind of wimpy, but he was still deadly Kylo, thankfully. I felt like we needed to have Snoke like hint at who he was at least before he got struck down. I hated seeing Luke act the way he did. We did not need to see his daily chores, and we did not need to see him milking a rated M for mature or R restricted seal cow type elephant thingy.
Okay, that was quite a rant by Newmo on the problems of the Last Jedi. Does anyone think that they agree with these problems or disagree with these problems?
Well, let me get from the beginning. So I already didn't like the Force Awakens after, rewatching it and finding it just a copy paste of the New Hope. That was a big thing for me. Then I went to watch it I was still excited because Luke Skywalker was returning and he was also really my hero. But then he was like some grumpy ass man who was just doing nothing but being grumpy, not wanting to use lightsabers nor the Force. And also, for what Luke Skywalker represents for me, he is the voice of hope for me. He talked Darth Vader into becoming Anakin Skywalker again. He's one of the most important characters, and he got just done so much shit in this movie. The rest of the movie, the Canto Bite thing was just stupid. I didn't like Rose at all. I don't know what that was all about. Hondo, or however she's called, I hated her from the start. Even when she sacrificed herself, I still hated her. So the rest of the movie was okay. Still, yet there were things I didn't like, as Rey just being like, for some reason she's being shown as this strong, independent woman, and I've nothing against feminists or SJWs or whatever, and I think it's great to have those kind of elements in a movie, but they were too prominent in my opinion, and like Rey being a Jedi in just a few days was abnormal.
Okay, so I'm gonna put you on
Yeah.
hold, and I'm gonna
I'm done.
first quickly about that point with Luke being hope. And the thing that really interests me is if he represents hope and he's lost and broken, then doesn't it really show a loss of hope? I just really like the fact that he was a bit more broken. He could have been a bit better, I'm not saying that. He could have been betterly done, but I like the fact that he was he was different. Okay, so Chosen, we'll go on to your points, and then we're going to talk about our best and worst scenes, and I'll go into that when we get there. Go on, Chosen one, please.
I'd say my opinion on the movie would be just how many plot twists there are, and like we can never actually settle on a topic. These characters have lost their identity. Luke is, acting really stubborn and not the character that his whole moral is based around. And the entire movie, the characters are acting pathetic. They're not trying to focus on a main goal, and it's not the plot is just terrible. Again, like it looks good, it sounds fine, but the plot is just really messed up. They just tried to squeeze too much into one movie and didn't put quality into the script. So yeah.
Okay, I think Paul wants to say something about that.
There's three main scenes that I kind of want to give my opinion on. Okay, so for the whole Akbar versus Holdo debate, because that was a big thing during the time when I didn't see the movie but knew a lot of the spoilers. Finally saw the end result that Akbar is blown up by Kylo's TIE fighters, and Leia is the one that not Leia, sorry. And Holdo is the one that sacrifices herself by basically hyperdriving, nuking Snoke's ship. I felt like they should have switched places with the plot. I felt like Holdo should have died when Kylo's men blasted the ship and made Leia fly into space, and then Akbar should have been the one to sacrifice himself by blasting himself into Snoke's ship, because there are a lot of Star Wars Admiral Akbar fans, especially with Admiral Raddus in the Rogue One. It's a trap is something that we all say as Star Wars fans, and we do not care about a pink-haired person, I think. Come on, Disney.
Okay, yeah, I would totally reiterate that point. I really think that it should have been Akbar, though I did like Holdo's. I think they could have done something with Holdo, but it was definitely Akbar's moment, and I cannot believe that they just threw him off the ship at the start. That was terrible. Okay, move on to your next point.
Okay, so when the Battle of Crate dropped, I had still not seen the movie. I was still just playing Star Wars Battlefront 2. I mean, no, I was still waiting for Star Wars Battlefront 2 to not even be working because it was all bugged up. It wasn't working. We were having like Rey troopers with guns running around on Naboo. Well, okay, the point is, when the Last Jedi DLC dropped for Battlefront 2, that's what brought me to the game, because it seemed like it was fixed by then. And when I played the Battle of Crate, this is the Battlefront 2 version, and it feels a lot better. There's no giant Death Star cannon ready to blast the Rebel base on Crate. It's just your standard rehash of Episode 5, the Battle of Hoth, where we have the walkers going towards the base, and the speeders rush out to try and fight the walkers. I love that callback.
I really enjoyed the little red dust and the sand. I just thought it was a beautiful scene. Revan wants to say something about that scene, I believe.
Yeah. I have a strong opinion about that entire battle, because for me it was just a paste and copy again of the Battle of Hoth. The only thing that they really changed was the ground. So now when you walk over the ground, there's a red for some reason. But
because of salt.
Yeah,
right. It's the salt.
Yeah, but the thing that I also didn't like was when the big canny thing to blast the base in. When Finn wanted to sacrifice himself, I thought that was beautiful. I thought that was a good way to end his story arc. But then just randomly, Rose flies in, crashes his speeder.
Tofco, can I put in my 2 cents here? I just need to tell this joke.
Okay, go ahead.
So I don't know if any of you YouTube people out there know how it should have ended, but yes, Revan, when that scene happened, how it should have ended made the point that the walkers could have just shot Rey and Finn right
exactly.
there.
They could have.
What I was trying to say before was the whole battle would have been a lot more enjoyable to me if the canon had never existed. But by the end of it, I was like, okay, but why is Rose still alive? Like, I want her dead, please.
Same.
Okay, interesting. Chosen, do you have anything about that scene?
I don't have a ton to say about that scene. I think the majority of the fan base wants her dead because she's just acting like a pathetic character that tasers Finn and then just goes along somehow surviving through this whole story. She doesn't really have a place.
I don't know, there seems to be a lot of hate for a character that seems perfectly normal. I don't know, I've watched The Last Jedi like at least 3 times, and every time I haven't seen a problem with Rose. Yeah, Paul, do your last point, because I do want to move on to episode 9.
I was actually trying to move on. I was wondering, what do you think of Poe's role in this movie?
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah. Okay, I'll open it up to you guys first. Chosen, can you go first this time?
I would say Poe is like, I'd say he could have had a bigger role in the movie, and I don't have a solid opinion on this, to be honest. I'd say, he could have had a bigger role. He's a great character. He actually had a foundation story, which Rose did not really have a foundation to her character. We know more about Poe, and he's a good character. I don't really have much else to say, yeah.
Revan, your thoughts on Poe in this movie?
Well, he was arrogant. That was for sure. He didn't want to listen to his superiors, so that was a big thing. Because in The Force Awakens, he is more like, how do you say this? He was very open, and he was truly fighting for the rebels, and he wasn't as arrogant. And for some reason, in Last Jedi, he is just arrogant. He does what he wants. He does what he thinks is doing good, and that's a bit of wasted potential there.
Interesting. Okay, I'll give my opinion before we go back to Newmo. And I think it's an interesting arc, because he had a story in this one. He wasn't that action packed in it, but he definitely had a story, and that was learning how to be more. What do we say?
Appropriate.
Yeah. Okay. That can work, and I think that it's nice to see, because he was definitely. I felt he had arrogance in him, and he was the cocky pilot that couldn't do anything wrong. When to sit back a bit, I thought felt better. And one final thing is, I think he's going to be amazing in episode 9. But if they wanted to, they could have definitely killed him off in this one. I felt like if he died in this one, I wouldn't have minded that much if they gave him a cool death.
I kind of would rather see him die in episode 10 if that's even going to be a thing, but I want the series to be done with 9. But anyways, I did not appreciate Poe turning to the dark side, but I completely understood it because Holdo was not being good at her job. She was not communicating.
Wait. Uh, for any viewers out there, he doesn't mean the dark side is in the dark side. He just means being a bit of a prick. Okay, carry on.
I meant that Poe was being a jerk. I didn't mean that he was literally turning to the dark side of the Force.
I kind of agree, honestly, and kind of back Poe, because now I forget her name again. I really don't like that character with the purple hair. Holdo was being arrogant, which caused him to become like kind of a gunslinger kind of character to just go out and do it on his own. And the whole plot kind of crashed because Holdo wouldn't reveal anything because it wasn't on a need to know basis.
Holdo was just trash. Let's just keep it on that.
Holdo was just trash. I think that sums up episode 8. And we have what we want from episode 9. And we're going to start with Newmo this time.
Okay, so let me start with the fact that we got at least 2 trailers right away when it came out. I haven't seen anything new on Twitter, so please don't put your spoilers in the comments. But basically when those 2 trailers dropped, I was like, why are we getting another desert planet? We have like 5 already in the canon. Why are we getting this weird place called Aziel? Or I don't know what it is.
But meant to be Jakku.
No, it's a whole new place that starts with an A. I don't know. I can't remember what it's called though.
That's weird. Okay, carry on.
But I liked all the action and everything. It's just by the end of it, I was kind of like, yes, they are doing the Force Awakens sequel that I wanted, but I'm kind of confused on what the plot is. But you're always supposed to be confused because it's a preview. But there was basically no complaints besides the fact that we're getting another desert planet. I really am excited for episode 9.
Okay, that was interesting. I didn't even know about that. Okay, we'll have the chosen one next.
Episode 9. The trailers look really awesome. I've heard some people who have heard potential plot leaks that may make me biased against this conversation. I'm not going to talk about any of that, but I don't know where the movie is or isn't heading. I love the trailers. It's gonna look good again. You know, Disney's putting millions of dollars into it. I think I'm hoping it'll turn out to be a quality movie. I really am. I don't know where it's gonna go. Like, I have hope that it's gonna be a good movie, but I'm like not gonna get my hopes too high because The Last Jedi didn't turn out too good, you know? So we'll...
Okay, fair enough. Darth Revan, can we have your opinions of what you want from episode 9?
Well, yeah. Here it goes. Everyone has already seen it. If you don't have seen, well, you can see it as a spoiler still, but everyone knows, if you look at the poster, that there's something with Palpatine is gonna happen in this movie. We all know it. Hear this laughter. And I've seen leaked scripts and etc.
Okay.
No, I won't talk about them. But I've seen them, and from what I've seen, it doesn't look good. The plot doesn't look good. And what I actually would like to see is just give Rey an arc where she truly fails, in my opinion, so that you finally can learn to truly be a good Jedi, and not like in the Last Jedi where she just became one when she only got the goddamn lightsaber. I want Finn to sacrifice himself this time, truly give him an ending he deserves without Rose or any of that. Poe, hopefully he's less arrogant and he's the old Poe again from the Force Awakens. That would be nice. And I truly hope they redeem Luke's character if he comes back in some sort of form. And my very last point is that if the Palpatine thing happens to be true, then I'm not gonna see any of this ever as canon to me. And also, Matt Smith is joining the cast.
I definitely agree with that. Like, just redeeming kind of the generation of Skywalkers, because it's been a really epic trilogy, and kind of the episode 8 kind of ruined that for Skywalker, and kind of ruined the moral, and so I really hope they redeem that and kind of bring it back. Yeah.
Okay, so I believe that we're going to talk about Palpatine, and we're going to give it to Newmo to start off.
Yeah, let me give my dark side impression on all the dark side characters that are hinted at in The Rise of Skywalker. For dark side Rey or Darth Rey or whoever she's going to be, I'm guessing she is going to be basically another episode 5 Dagobah type of thing. I think we're going to get like a dark side cave where Rey is going to have to face her dark side.
No, I
Basically,
don't think that's going to happen. I think that if they do that, they'll...
Okay, you're not letting me finish, though.
Oh, sorry. Please, go ahead.
So basically, I think she's going to have a lightsaber duel with her dark side, or she's going to have to go up against some kind of clone or some kind of dark side character that is her doppelganger.
Yeah, I can see that one.
Yeah, because I feel like there's a clone kind of being hinted at in the Last Jedi dark side cave scene, you know?
Yeah.
But okay, continuing with the dark side, I love that Kylo Ren is the Supreme Leader. I love the sound of Supreme Leader Ren. With the Knights of Ren, I can't wait to see them finally because they've been teased for ages.
Oh yeah.
I really want to see them do something amazing. For Phasma, I don't want to see anything because she's dead. Please do not bring her back. And then for Snoke, I pretty much want just a referencing line. I don't want to see him again. He's obviously dead. People, he is not a Darth Maul. And then finally, for the Emperor, I would have to say that it was already confirmed by the Emperor's original actor that the Emperor in the canon is dead. So my biggest 2 guesses on what this is going to be is that it's going to be either a messenger droid, like what we saw in the Star Wars Battlefront 2 campaign, or it's going to be a Sith ghost, like what we saw in the Art of the Last Jedi deleted storyboards.
Okay, that's an interesting opinion.
I think it's possible that, like, he could have, Palpatine could have some sort of spiritual attachment to the Death Star and the remains of it. And I heard somewhere that, like, Sith can do that. They can often attach to certain objects or places, and
yes, Chosen, you're right.
Yeah.
The Sith in the canon that are dead.
I think he's actually back somehow, and that he's gonna fight the First Order.
He's just
in
not.
An amazing battle. I believe Revan will talk about it.
But a Death Star exploded and everybody died on it.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm not gonna buy a hoot of it if they say he teleported to the world between worlds while he was falling into the abyss.
Yeah, he better be dead. He better be dead.
Why can't they have like a ritual that brings him back? That'd be cool.
It ruins everything Vader was prophesied to do.
He's dead. Yeah, exactly. It's like he's gone. No things bringing him back. Like, we want to see something new and interesting, not him being revived in the same battle.
Snoke was something interesting, but they just ruined that.
I thought Snoke was going to be Darth Nihilus or some kind of clone of the Emperor. I feel like Snoke may have been a clone of the Emperor, but I don't feel like we're going to get an Emperor clone in The Rise of Skywalker.
It could be that, like, Palpatine was kind of controlling Snoke. I'm not sure, but it could have been like that. That Snoke was an embodiment of Palpatine.
Maybe,
I'm not sure.
Because I heard that the unknown was before he died. The unknown regions were calling out to him, and so he was trying to get to the unknown regions before he died. So I thought
Tofco, can I throw in some lore, please?
Yeah, sure.
So this is one of the biggest hints at who Snoke could be that is canon, but it's very low key. Like, not a lot of fans would know about it. So what next time you're watching episode 3, Jedi, Sith, and in between, look around the Emperor's office and you'll see 4 statues of some Force wielders that you may not know. They're called the Elders of the Duarte, and the 4 Elders of the Duarte were basically these dark side studiers, and one of them was so corrupt in the Force that he was cast out. And his name is it's not Snoke, but it's very similar. And I've always wondered, what if Snoke was one of the elders of Duarte, because the Duarte elders all wear gold robes, and I feel like if Palpatine had some connection to them, what if Snoke knew about the Clone Wars and everything because he was watching through his statue everything that was happening?
That's interesting, yeah.
It's very interesting. So, Revan, what do you think about everything that's just been said?
Well, the Palpatine thing for me, I hope he just comes back in a sort of ghost form, or what Chosen said, in some sort of way his spirit is connected to the Death Star or something within it. And not that he comes back in a physical form, because if he does truly comes back in a physical form and he's going to try and take over the galaxy yet again, for me personally, it ruins Anakin's arc, it ruins Luke's arc, because the whole point of Anakin's arc was bringing balance and peace to the Force, and what he wanted to do to get there was to kill the Emperor. And for me, he did it in episode 6, so everyone was at peace. Everything was, and everyone was at peace. That's why I don't consider anything after it, except the Mandalorian canon.
I can't believe that, because if you think something's not canon anymore, then that's just rejecting, well, the Star Wars part. But I want to give a quick thing to what you just said, or what all of you just said, that no matter what happens, Palpatine is such a cool character, and he's been acted really well in the 5 movies he's been in, and I just
Oh
can't
yeah,
wait.
the actor did amazing playing him.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Ian McDermott, I think. He's an amazing
Ian
actor. and I just
McKellen or
can't-
something. Not Ian McKellen, that's Gandalf, my bad.
No, it's Ian McDermott or something. Anyway,
Yeah.
he's an amazing actor, and I can't wait to see him again. And yeah, but we are gonna finish
Yeah.
talking about this because we have 9 minutes remaining. And so, just like we started, I want everyone to give just one sentence on what will happen after The Last Jedi. What are we thinking about Star Wars then? And then I think we'll sign off.
I would say, I feel like after the Skywalker saga, I would hope that Disney kind of pulls off at other points and makes those movies like Rogue One, kind of goes more into detail in the Star Wars universe and pulls in more fans. I can definitely see Disney pulling the majority of their Star Wars stuff onto Disney Plus, and that's a whole other topic. But I mean, I love Star Wars, always will. I really hope to see they make the right choices. Yeah.
Yeah, don't we all? Because I think Star Wars is such an important part of so many people's lives. Okay, who else has anything to say on that? Or just say as their final statement for today.
Well, the main point is money. Disney loves their money. Everyone knows that. They're like EA.
Mm-hmm.
So I know after this they're just gonna try and do the Old Republic. Something I'm the biggest fan of the Old Republic games, of the lore, of the Legends lore. But I know the second they're gonna touch it, and they will make a series about this after the Rise of Skywalker, everything will change, and it won't be the same, basically. for me anymore
Remake an
because
F1 it could be
yeah,
great.
it could be
You don't
great,
know.
but it also couldn't because if we just look what Disney
Yeah.
already has done in the past and Lucasfilm and Kathleen Kennedy has done in the past, I am really doubting that they will do something great with it.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see what the future will bring.
Interesting. And what about Newmo? For your final opinion?
Yeah, guys out there and girls too. Paul's idea is basically, yeah, like Revan, I really want to see an Old Republic trilogy from either the Game of Thrones directors or whoever takes the wheel after Episode 9. But I don't want to see a trilogy from Rian Johnson that continues the arc after Episode 9. I want to see Episode 9 be the final ending to the Skywalker saga. I want to have a scene at the end that's basically an Ewok dance saying, the First Order's dead, let's celebrate and see some Force ghosts. Point is that if they continue to do more story content, like Chosen, I want to see some kind of support for the Legends type stuff. I want maybe their next films besides Old Republic could be stuff for the Force Unleashed or other Legends games. Just retell them and bring them back into canon because there's so many fans crying out, where are my favorite characters? My final word, Tofco dudes and you Star Wars fans out there, would have to be, I want Rey to actually stay the Last Jedi. I don't want to see Rey's Jedi Council or anything. I want Rey to be the new stand-in for the light side. I want Kylo to take the dark side, and then if Ahsoka comes back, keep her as the one in between. Keep her as our gray Jedi, please. Thank you.
Okay, so I think that's everyone's points. And yeah, thank you all for coming because it's been amazing having you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having me too, Tifko. Till the next one.
Bye, TC.
See ya. Okay, so that was our first chance at our podcast. There's stuff we need to improve. There's stuff you might have liked, and I really hope you come and see the next one. Make sure to leave a like because every like counts. And if you have any ideas for podcasts or want to be in one, contact me on Discord. Link in the description. And yeah, any opinions on the sequels, I also want them in the comments. Finally, those three people were Paul, Revan, and Chosen. They all have YouTube channels. Links in the descriptions. And finally, I want to give a massive thank you to the person that made this all possible. The editing, the sound effects, everything like that. It's called AnAppleInABox. He also has a YouTube channel. Make sure to go check it out. He has a brand new video, which is really cool. And yeah, if you want help editing or you just want to see his content, make sure to go see him. Right, this is Tofco. This was Tea with Tofco. We are having so much fun doing these. I will see you next time. This is Tofco, out.